What's going on, guys? I forgot my camera fell over. Oh, Scott. Scott, you still here, buddy? Guys, Scott's one of my real life friends. I haven't seen him in a while. I just wanted to check on him, and he just checked on me. Let me go to the list here and see who's here. And say hello to all my little friends. Well, not necessarily little friends. You know what I mean. Whatever. Get out of here. Shut up. Stupid. Hey, Scooter. What's going on? How you doing? Hey, Samantha. Mr. Scott Marker. Everybody. One of the best rock singers you'll ever meet in person. He's a crazy little bastard. But awesome fucking rock singer. Teresa Cookie, how you doing? Miss Lauren Ashley. Miss Jessica Taylor. Hello, hello. DMC Productions, what's going on? Let's get creepy, hell yeah. Airy, Artistically Foolish. Hello, my friend. Pete the Norwegian. Just stopped in to say hi. Gotta sleep, work tomorrow. Yeah, rub it in my face, why don't you, man? No. I think that's everybody. I didn't say hi to... Oh, Orchid. How you doing, Orchid? And I think I said hi to Teresa. If I missed your name... Oh, Jay's better. How you doing, Jay? Hope all is well with you. I looked down at the time. I was like, oh, crap, it's... Focus, stupid. I looked down at the time. I was like, oh, crap, it's freaking 5. It's like I said I'd stream at 5. Hopefully, y'all are all doing well. Get this thing out of the way. There we go. That's why we don't have nice things. Hey, Chevy Fish. Oh, hello, Yandere. How are you today? So I think we can start off. I found stories before I started streaming yesterday. Did not do that today because I was looking at stuff. Let's close that and that and that, and we keep this one open. Let's see F5. I read this one yesterday, didn't I? Yeah, I did read this one yesterday. Let's see what we got here. 20-minute stories. Ain't nobody's got time for that. A Christmas Story? I don't think so. Oh yeah, I remember that one. I read that was the last one. And I read that one. "17 minutes. You're crazy. Mommy, can I? I don't know, can you? We'll check that one out. Cool. Break. Control button doesn't work on the right side. Jesus. Breaking Sanity. Let's see. 9 minutes. Too long. Maybe we'll come back to it. Echoes of Daffodils. Just reliving the Genesis days. Nice. You had to be like 3 when you had a Genesis. Good dog. And this one's 32 freaking minutes long. If I do a long story like this, I'll have to do it in parts. That's just too much. Did you remember to feed the monsters under your bed? I am the monsters under my bed. The church cellar. Fun games happen in the church cellar. I was like negative 15 then. Damn. The lucky one. Oh, a story about Zozo. Zozo, 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 Zozo. It's 9 minutes long, but I might read parts of it. If I like it, who knows, I might read more. Did anyone else have a closet monster growing up? "26 minutes, you're nuts." The truth behind the Mandela effect. Are you going to say Mandela actually died in prison? I don't think so. Stop biting your nails. It's Popo Po's cousin? No. Anytime you play on a Ouija board, there's a chance you're talking to Zozo. That's a demon. The scariest kind. That's why you're always polite and don't tally. Or, is it tally? Just, like don't just hang around. Always polite and leave quickly. Alright, I think I got a few stories here. Alrighty, what do we got? A lot of death and disappearance stories. I use the online Ouija. Ooh, fun. Stop biting your nails, said the hammer. Oh my god, it's Chappy. Chapstick. Oh, so funny. So funny. Oh, let's, it is not chapstick, it is Burt's Bees. I'm going to put it on right now. So you put the Burt's Bees on just like this. That's good stuff right there. Ooh, you're talking about creepy stuff. Nope, DMC, just the lady in my closet. She let herself out. I have no idea who she was, just a ghost. Oh. You loves me, and you know it. You loves me, and you know it. Looks like food just got delivered. Or Amazon delivered. Well, shoot, I just saw a story that was really short. No. Damn dog likes to bark. Train that right out of her. Bark. Bork, 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 bork. Bork, 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 bork. Alright, well, the first one we start off with is called the church cellar. Go fetch Chappy. Is that kind of like a house Chappy? Is that what they were? Were they house Chappies? I forget now. Let's put you there. Here's the story. Let's get started, shall we? Not like that, though. There we go. In the small town of Stull, Kansas, there once stood an old one-room chapel on top of a hill, surrounded by graves. Beside the church was a cellar that was very difficult to find, as its doors had grass grown upon them. In front of the church was a great tree, maybe, that was always bare. None of the town's members could recall ever having seen a leaf upon its branches. In the town's earliest years, well before the Civil War, there were several farming families that lived there. The minister's daughter had fallen madly in love with a boy from the nearby. But her broken heart when the young man was discovered to have impregnated a certain flirtatious townsgirl. Hoes be trippin'. The two were married, and all the while the reverend's daughter saw them happy together, and her hatred brewed until 9 months of painful endurance that despise boiled over her. Shortly after the young couple's child was born, the minister's daughter went to their house. She be trippin'. They greeted her cheerfully, but noticed all too late how she eyed the child bloodthirstily. She slit the throats of all of those two who had made her life so miserable, and then dragged their bodies along with the newborn child up the hill to the church. She put the bodies in the cellar and left the baby there between their bodies to starve to death. She locked the cellar shut and hung herself on the tree in front of the church. The bodies in the cellar were not found for 3 weeks. From that day on, leaves never grew on that tree. If you walk the graveyard late at night, you can hear the sound of a baby's chilling cry. The townspeople burnt down the tree many years ago in hopes of putting the minister's daughter's spirit to rest. And more recently, the church collapsed unto itself, burying the already difficult to find cellar. Many have looked for its doors, but the few who have found them and ventured beneath its depths have seldom returned, with the exception of a few who came back to the sunlight after 3 weeks beneath. Starved nearly to death and covered in blood that was not their own. I don't know if I like that story. It was kind of whatever. Hey, Aqua Balls, I'm sorry. How you doing? Chewy LTD, hello Chappy. What kind of strange dealings afoot now with you? Oh, just some stories. Just some stories. Join the creepy Patreon and get exclusive perks. I don't really have perks set up. I think you get better perks through the YouTube memberships. Yeah, it was just okay. That's what I thought. Hey, Big J, you're here on time. Well, it looks like we need to end the stream now. I'm just joking. Oh, here's another one. Let's make up for that one. Let's move this wire so I can see what y'all are saying. And move. Whoa, timber. Move my sunglasses. Because sometimes the enemy is not what hides under your bed, but what comes from the stars. There we go. It's in front of me now. Oh yeah, I already did, my friends. I have all the white rabbits, even the dead ones. Ooh, what are y'all talking about? I have a creepy video that scared Anthony. LOL. Hey, the Zen Ginger, thank you for that. I'm looking up desserts for today's mermaid heck. I have all 30 white rabbit snails now. Oh, what are white rabbit snails? Let's Google that. Well, they don't look like rabbits at all. They look like snails. They come in all sorts of different colors, too. Well, they didn't get their name from their color. We're chasing the white rabbits. There we go. Let's turn that ever so. What up, creepy Chappy? What up, Mr. Fart Doctor? How are you? Let's do this story. Mommy, can I? I need to get a teleprompter so I look like I'm looking at the camera while I'm reading. Show us what you're looking at. I would, but I closed the window. This is what I'm looking at currently. If you're interested in reading along, please do. Get the best creepy merchandise here. You can get creepy merchandise there. Well, anyways, Mommy, can I? Is the story. Oh, and it's kind of long. It is not 6 minutes. It's fine. If you go chasing rabbits, reminds me. I'm a finder. I find things. I should start charging finder's fees. Chappy, sea spiders. The best kind of spiders. Oh. Well, here's Mommy, can I? Should be Mommy, may I? Oh, thank you so much for coming at a late notice, the woman said, as soon as she answered the door. No problem, miss. It's my job. What can I do for you? I replied, naturally with a smile. Well, my sink's been acting up lately. I've tried fixing it myself, but it's no good. Please come in. I'll show you the way. She stepped aside, making a gesture to invite me in. I nodded with a smile, ready to provide service as usual. She led me to the living room. My son is sleeping in his room. Can I ask that you try to keep it quiet? Of course, I'll do my best. I couldn't help but notice she was missing 2 fingers on one hand. Not wanting to be rude, I made no mention of it. She's always in the shocker. Or maybe it's like, or I don't know. I'm sorry. That would be much appreciated. Would you like a drink? A cold soda or maybe just water? She offered. Oh, water's fine, thank you. I'll be right back then. Go on and take a seat. She slowly made her way into the kitchen, but not without glancing towards the hallway. I couldn't help but notice how pale and weakly thin she looked. The poor woman wouldn't have had the slightest chance if a robber or a murderer happened to sneak into her house. It wouldn't be surprised either. It truly was a nice house. I turned my head to the hallway and took a deep breath, then noticed it. A faint odor. Whatever it was, it didn't smell so inviting. I could tell, though, that an effort was given to cover up the stench with air fresheners. I would know. I've done it before. I was making a move to get up when she walked back in with a glass of water. Here you are. She placed it gently on the glass table. While doing so, relieved what looked like a small, ringed bruise on her forearm. Revealed, not relieved, sorry. Miss, is your arm okay? I thought I saw a bit. I'm fine, she answered hurriedly. Retrieving her arm to her chest. Would you like to see the sink now? She asked, insisted rather. I got up and followed her after sipping the glass of water. We passed by the hallway, and I heard muffled shuffling in what seemed to be the first room to the left. I saw 2 shadows on the foot of the door. Mommy, can I have it? A small voice asked softly behind the doors. The woman stopped in her tracks and turned with a bewildered look that was quickly masked with a smile. Honey, go back to bed, she said, with a cold tone that didn't match the smile on her face. Mommy, can I have it? I'll be good this time, please. Her son, I presume, pleaded. Ma'am, I think your child needs something, I said, hesitant. He'll get it in a minute, she said to me. Then to her son, Sweetie, just be patient. I'll get it to you later, I promise. Immediately, she walked away, and I followed, a little uncomfortable now. There was scratching behind the doors. Was that your son? I asked with caution when we arrived in the kitchen. I think it got clogged when I dumped some leftovers there. I wasn't thinking clearly. Instead of putting them in the dispenser, tossed the food down the drain. It was just cut up meat, so I figured it wouldn't be a big issue. I guess I was wrong, she explained, completely ignorant to my question. I decided not to push it. Well, let me take a look. She moved aside and I began taking out some tools. She stayed in the kitchen, leaning on the fridge, watching me. After a while, she walked to one of the drawers and opened it, pulled out an item. I couldn't tell what it was. I soon disappeared under the sink. After a few minutes of silence, she asked, "You like helping people, right? Is that why you decided to go for this job?" It was actually a lack of ambition and non-caring parents, but seeing as I didn't want to be rude, I merely nodded, even tried to play it off as a good guy. Yeah, I like helping folks. Nothing better than knowing you've made someone's life easier, right? Right. Yes, service. More silence followed, which lasted longer this time. I popped my head out for a bit and reached for a wrench in my toolbox. She noticed the ring on my finger. "I see that you're married. Any kids?" she asked, hands behind her back. "Yeah, 2. My wife just gave birth to our youngest 2 weeks ago," I answered with a genuine smile. "That's lovely. Congratulations." She paused, opening her mouth as if to say something, only to go back into silence. With the look on her face, it seemed as if she was contemplating something. In her head, quite serious, struggled for the right words. And then I saw her face, something I probably already did at the moment of our meeting but ignored. Exhaustion. "Look, you seem like a nice man, so..." Thud. We both snapped our heads in the direction of the hallway. I was about to speak, then another thud stopped me, louder than before. This time, the woman looked at me with hesitation. After one lingering look at my ring, she stepped forward. "You better go," the woman said coldly, trying to ignore the sounds that now have much shorter pauses between them. "But I'm not finished. Leave, right now." I could see the unsettling look on her face, so I obeyed and packed my things right away. When we passed by the hallway, the door to the boys' room began to rattle wildly. "Mommy, please, let me out. Can I have it now? I want it, Mommy." "Goodness, you have your child locked in there?" I asked with such shock. She was pushing me towards the door, now with the hand that was missing 2 fingers. I turned around sharply, and she pulled out a knife and she'd been hiding in her back. My eyes widened, met her frenzied ones. "If you take a single step towards me, I won't hesitate to hurt you. I've done it before. Done it plenty of times. Oh yes, I've killed a lot of men. But I was just doing my job, you see. Just doing my job. Isn't it a mother's job to protect her child? Huh?" I stood there, my feet frozen, glued to the floor, not knowing how to respond. "Isn't it?" she yelled suddenly, causing me to jump. The door stopped rattling and returned to creating loud thudding noises. The boy was repeatedly throwing his body against it. "Listen, let's just be calm and talk about this. Put the knife down and we'll..." "No, no more. This has to end. No more of this. I've sacrificed enough. I'm tired." She solemnly turned towards the hallway. Right at that moment, I could have easily disarmed her and turned the situation around. Things might have ended up differently. But something in me was screaming to just run out and call the cops. "I'm sorry, sweetie. I've done my best, but I can't keep doing this. It isn't right. It isn't right." She turned back to me, knife lowered, eyes pleading. "Go home to your family." I bolted to the door without even thinking about it. I didn't bother to close it either. With one last glance back, I saw her opening the door in the hallway, knife raised. "I'm fucking hungry, you bitch!" I refused to believe that that was a boy that said this. It couldn't have been, yet it was. Screams from both child and parent were heard. I threw myself into the work vehicle and drove a couple blocks before realizing I had to call the police. Oh my goodness, did you hear the news? About what? A plumber called the cops after fleeing this one house he was working at, which is near the area, by the way. How exciting. Let me finish, geez. So the police arrive there, and the first thing they see is a woman's mutilated body on the living room floor. She was all chewed up, her face was barely recognizable, and her stomach was ripped open and innards gone. They investigated the house and found a room with rotting corpses that were in the same condition as the woman's body. A lot of them were workers like plumbers, electricians, and whatnot. There was a broken chain leash right beside the pile of bodies. Oh Jesus, we're eating. This is why I would never get a dog. No, it wasn't a dog. They examined the woman's body since it was the freshest. Just died a little before they arrived, apparently. She had bite marks on her limbs, human bite marks. They were also pretty small, too small to be an adult. You're not saying... No, that's messed up. They found out she had a son, a little boy. He's missing. Well, that sounded fun. How did y'all like that one? I could probably guess a lot of y'all liked the, "I'm fucking hungry, you bitch." I thought that was fun. Oh, I need to plug my phone in. Oh, I'm reaching down. Do I got it? Almost got it. There we go. I got it. Oh. Hey, came in on the tail end of a spooky. Is that what you call them? You don't call them stories? It was a little bit of a spooky. That one didn't sound... Like fun ones like that, I don't mind reading. It says it's 6 minutes. It didn't feel like 6 minutes. Flowery death, as legend has it, stems from a young man's obsession with the love of his life, Daisy, the farmer's daughter. Ironically, that was how her body was found years later under the patch of daisies. Teresa, not a cool story at all. We got mice in our attics, and when we sealed all the entries, some couldn't exist and dried up there. Some couldn't exist. Sometimes, just sometimes, they can't exist. How's everybody doing out there? I wonder what happened to my friend Scott. Scoot, you still there, you angry little troll? Say something if you are. It's okay, we talk like that to each other. He is part of what goes bump in the night. Well, Zen, that was anticlimactic. Aw. So let's see what you guys got to say. How are you doing, Mr. Sleek the Geek? You going to stay in the stream this time? I'd appreciate that. Any leftover pizza? Yes, I'll be having some shortly. Let's see if we have any new people. Sharpies, models, and aquatics. How are you doing, my friend? And Mr. Sleek the Geek, how are you doing, my friend? Oh, I think that's everybody. I don't know. How are you all? Anything spoopy happened last night? Any repressed memories of when you were younger? I'm good at staying. I like bumps in the night, but my neighbors call the cops, and they tell me to turn it down. It's too bad. That is too bad. Jeez Louise. I just finished a 14-hour shift, so not doing too great. At least you have a job, buddy. Gotta make that money, right? Did I get it? Almost. I just want to pop it so the blood comes out. I gotta get a needle. Whatever. It's been itching. I don't like it. Still around, just drawing. Drawing. I heard La Llorona last night, exactly at 3 a.m. Ooh, she's spoopy. I heard an owl last night when I was smoking around that time. Owls are kind of spoopy, but they're beautiful creatures. What, you got a tick? No. I got a sore that I don't ever let my sores heal. I always pick at them. The VP of Amazon Canada quit his job today. Oh, are you saying there's a job opening? Probably pays better than minimum wage, right? Hello, Cougar Blue. How are you doing this evening? Just finished my Star Wars Mermaid. Ooh, I'd like to see that. I saw a full body apparition last night at work. Thought it was a customer, but there wasn't anybody in the store, and nothing showed on the CCTV. CCTV means closed caption, so it doesn't connect to outside sources. The owls we have here just keep asking for more pork. That's pretty spoopy. There's always bats flying around my apartment at night. You should let them out. Were they wearing a mask, Sharpie? Closed circuit. What did I say? Whatever. Closed circuit. I don't know. I work on things like that. It's on Aries Discord. I have a Discord that you can post it in. Stuff like this beautiful, I'm like stroking it, this beautiful piece right here. But owls are not what they seem. There's an old belief that when you hear an owl hoot, someone's going to die soon. I don't know if that's true or not. You said closed caption. Oh, I sure did. I meant closed circuit. Thank you, the Zen Ginger. Yeah, like the crap you read on mute. You know what I meant. Thank you. The owls are literally called moreporks, just like their call. We aren't doing the whole mask thing in general over here, DMC. Got it. And now I can heal. Where'd my phone go? There it is. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there we go. Got him. I posted an owl on my Instagram, but it was too dark, so you couldn't see the owl, only hear it. World's most common owl is a teat owl. I don't know. Maybe. I think we have barn owls here. The barn owl is the most widely distributed species of owl and one of the most widespread of all birds. I mean, I guess maybe that's in America. I don't know. They're beautiful, beautiful creatures. Very vicious killers. Got to go. See you all later. See you at 5, Ari. Oh, people are leaving. No, it's fine. Well, thank you for coming. We read that one, and we read that one. Let's read a little bit about Zozo. Ho ho. You missed the joke. Listen to yourself say, teat owl. Teat owl? Teat owl? Teat owl? Teat owl. I don't. This is the Zozo Phenomenon. This is why you don't play with Ouija boards. Oh, yes, Chappy, some say. If a white owl circles your property, it's a bad omen or extreme misfortune. And some say that cursing it is beneficial, rather. Others say it's detrimental. Tea towel. What's a tea towel? The Zozo Phenomenon. It's time for another entry in our Real World Creepy series. This particular topic was sent to me by Sobellum69, who sent the following message. Recently, I have come to knowledge of what is known as the Zozo Phenomenon. To start, I must tell you that the Ouija board is what the Ouija board is. To those of you who don't know, it's a children's toy with letters spelled across a board. A person or a group put their hands or fingers on the planchette and try to summon spirits. The spirit then moves the planchette around the board, spelling out sentences. Some claim it's each other doing the moving, which is often it tends to be. Others claim it's their subconscious. I don't know what y'all are laughing about. I don't dry my dishes. Others claim that it's a subconscious, yet many believe, it's actually spirits. I will not get into this. If you want to research it, there's plenty of information. The Zozo Phenomenon is the fact that people from all over the world for the last 30 years, the time the board became popular, have reported an entity named Zozo, Zoso, Zuzu, Zo, or other Z words named like that. This creature often starts claiming it's another spirit, or trying to act friendly or nice. More often than not, Zozo quickly becomes violent, curses you out, takes complete control of the board. For many, this is not the end of it, however. No matter how many boards they have, Zozo comes back. And soon it doesn't end with the board. Many report hauntings by Zozo. Some claim possession. Others claim harassment. It often carries a very common theme, however. Zozo either pretends to be friendly for a while and slowly drains away from its host, or he's outright hostile, terrifying the poor souls unlucky enough to encounter him. Many have asked Zozo questions on his origins, on most occasions after revealing himself as Zozo. He will not deny what he is. He will outright tell you he's a demon from hell, even once proclaiming to be Satan himself. Although this last part was probably one of the many scare tactics, there was much evidence of ancient entities in ancient Africa, medieval Europe, and Christianity for a demon named Zozo, which in English translates to the destroyer. I don't think that translates in English, but whatever. Zozo has been known to curse off in Hebrew and quote Bible verses, and to react severely negatively to anything about God or Jesus Christ, even relinquishing his grip on his victims when being commanded in a Christian fashion. I do not know if this is common with other religions as well, and it doesn't always work for Christians as well. I'm writing this as a warning to inform my fellow creepypasta readers that not everything is as it seems. If you happen to use one of these boards or an automatic writer and something by the name of Zozo appears, leave the game properly and cleanse the house by your religion. That was by Sobellum 69. I think it does translate. Let me see. I don't know. So this is like other people have stories in here, so I'm trying to discern some of the crap. Googling the name Zozo brings up a number of websites and message board postings where people discuss their true experiences with this being. I've compiled, not me, they've compiled a short list for any who are interested in reading more about this alleged demon. I gave you guys the link if you're interested. Now, I'm aware that people are pretty divided on just how creepy Ouija-related experiences truly are. To be honest, given that every time I've tried to use a Ouija board, it was blatantly obvious that any messages were born entirely of human effort. My friends weren't exactly good at hiding their efforts to move the pieces where they wanted it to go. I'm not particularly spooked by the boards. After all, it is largely marketed as a children's board game, and since all of my experiences using it when I was a kid, for me, the occasion is hard to break. However, I've seen many people make the argument that it's not the vessel that matters. It is the intent and permission given by the user to any entities that's important. That may be true after all. How many stories are there of seemingly innocuous items becoming possessed by ghosts or spirits? Many. So, I'll leave each of you to your varying degree of skepticism and belief, and close out with some anecdotal evidence, a Zozo experience transcribed by Stephen Wagner. I am from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm currently 40 years old and have held a fascination with the occult since an early age. I have had many bizarre experiences with Ouija boards, and I am writing this as a warning to people, as bad things can happen because of these portals. The majority of people from the United States hold a skeptical view regarding the scientific evidence of spirits or ghosts. And many people who believe in these things are also believed that for this very reason that ghosts and poltergeists occur here and exist under the radar, so to speak. These Ouija boards are manufactured under the precept that they are mere toys. Let me tell you firsthand that they are not toys and should be used with strict caution, and probably should not be messed around with at all. Other countries take a more open-minded view of spirits, demons, and ghosts, and many cultures have based entire religions from their beliefs. During my experiences with Ouija boards, one particular spirit always seems compelled to make its presence known. I name it Zozo. Today, I refuse to even pronounce its name, as I believe the mere pronunciation of it can cause it to manifest itself. Too many times to count, it has first pretended to be a nice spirit, or pretended to be whomever I was trying to contact. But eventually it showed its true self, cussing me, threatening me with other presence in the room. Once it actually cussed me using what looked like Latin or Hebrew and using biblical terminology. What, are people going to leave now? Oh no. Tisk tisk. They're not toys. I've never played with one a lot. I didn't get it from Hasbro. They're not toys, and I never played with one a lot. I didn't get it from Hasbro on Amazon. What? Just don't have a Ouija board designed on your floor and buy a Roomba. You might end up summoning a demon to clean your floors. And Jay's has beta. Jay's, I have roaches. Well, it looks like Zen's never visiting Jay. Apparently she doesn't like roaches. So here's a little bit more. This is entitled Nasty Spirit. I was genuinely fascinated and startled by how many times Zozo showed up, even in many different states and many different Ouija boards. It always wound up being very nasty and commented freely about how it wanted to possess my girlfriends and take them to paradise. When asked where paradise was, it spelled hell. One time, it was being extremely evil. I walked in my bathroom only to see my 1-year-old daughter about to drown. Her mother had left her alone in the tub just for a second, and somehow the water had turned on and was overflowing. Instinctively, she had her face tilted up and was seconds from going under when I grabbed her from the water. The next day, she was hospitalized for some weird internal infection and was put in isolation for 14 straight days as doctors tried to diagnose the illness. We almost lost her, and that was when I began to suspect demonic attack. At this same time, my girlfriend maintained a trance-like state. Her personality changed from a very sweet person to a withdrawn and uncaring. The creature said, I'm not going to keep saying, Z said, before this, that it was going to possess her and eat her soul. I was recording music for a future rock project, and I remember jokingly asking if I had an option on what I could name the band. It spelled Iron Tongue, which at the same time I thought was pretty cool. Only later, when my daughter's tongue swelled up in the hospital to the point of asphyxiation, did I realize that it wasn't cool at all. Her tongue became rock hard and distorted her face, swelling up there. It hung grotesquely in her mouth. We took turns at the hospital for what seemed like forever before my daughter began to recover from this strange affliction even. When guests would spend the night in our house, they would claim that they heard frightening voices coming from inside the walls. Objects would be thrown across the room. Spiders seemed to come from nowhere. My girlfriend's brother, who lived with us, complained that he couldn't sleep at night because of the conversations. They were so loud, and he simply could not rest. He believed in ghosts and thought he wasn't afraid of them. He said it definitely felt demonic. Lights would turn off and on by themselves. Doors would open and lock themselves. One night, in our bedroom, a vicious laughter emanated from thin air. And to this day, I cannot explain the terror in that laughter. Another night, I was awakened by what felt like hands on my throat choking me. I could not breathe. I could not scream. After about 30 seconds, it released its grip and I gasped for air. The same thing happened to my girlfriend the next night. So there's more stuff like that. But that's fun, huh? So don't play with Ouija boards, you know. Hello, Fishy Fun. Hi, everyone. We're in the middle of a story I'm going to watch until a friend brings groceries. And then after the groceries, are you leaving? You gonna leave me? He whispered, I am your destiny. Her heart ached, my destiny. Then a sharp pain, no, you're an entity. As he led her to eternity, death embraced her. Rip, Daisy. Hey, Chappy, Pam, Teresa, Fishy Fun. That's a hell of a name. That's a long name there, Nathan. Is that a family name? Is it me, or does that creature, besides Chappy, look like trying to grab that Pepsi can? Wait, how can I? Maybe I can. It's this shoulder, so it's. Oh, this one's still full. So we've been in about an hour. I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to listen to some tunes. I'm going to walk the dog. And we'll be right back. If you're not a member, think about becoming a member. For just 99 cents, that'd be pretty cool. I just want to see the creepy Chappy thing all the way down the chat. And I know right now is probably not a good time, so if you can't, no worries. Okay, where's my music? There's my music. All right, let's play this. I'll be right back. Hello. How's everybody? Got some pizza. It's amazing that just like 2 slices of pizza, it's like a minute in the microwave. Actually, like 57 seconds. I gotta find a way that I can eat it without getting it on my keyboard. Let me move the camera. Whoa, timber. There we are. Put you like right there. All right. Looks like we got some people, some new people in here. Hello, Julie, writes on walls. How are you? Ari has returned. Hello. And I saw miscellaneous magnets. How are you doing? Phil, how are you doing, bud? They didn't say you're tardy. They said you're late. My roommate yelling at one of the dogs because he's whining. Hello, Lauren. Oh, Phil, you're in it now, bud. Hello, Chicklets. Chicklets23, how are you doing, bud? I was out buying plumbing for the tanks. A Van Halen reference. Like the Hunter? Or the band? Was it Van Halen or was whatever? Wow. Probably the music. Oh, my fleas are very active today. This pizza is delightfully spicy. Little pieces of jalapeno. I think I might try to make some nacho rice tomorrow. Little pieces of jalapeno and rice, some meat. Something. Damn fleas, I know. I know. Your favorite band, Van Helsing? Yeah. Van Halen, Van Helsing, whatever. They're both bands. The dogs are going nuts right now. They want a mushroom? Sorry. My pizza is on its way, so there, Chappy. So where? Is soju on its way? Ooh. Delicious, delicious soju. 54 Punchy Pan Paints at Punchy Paints. That's a long name. It's like a first, middle, and last. I can't believe I went to buy pizza yesterday and there was none there. Where were you like 30 seconds ago when I asked? I'm sorry, Catbot. I'm very sorry. Ooh, there's a little piece of hidden jalapeno. No, Chappy. Just Peach Boom Farm. Oh, bud. Have you seen Camille and Kennerly, the Harp Twins channel? I've not. Balsamic veggie pizza. That sounds pretty good, actually. Tomorrow I'll be eating the last 2 pieces. Music. Soul and vodka for me. Pizza would never last that long here. It's just me eating it. Very good at food management. I kind of have to be since I don't have a job. I can sit there and eat half a pizza in one sitting. How's my Acura looking, DMC? Or did it make the list this year? I can eat an entire pizza by myself. How does one make it last more than a day? That can opening sound made me want to grab my beer. Go grab your beer. Have a beer with Chappy. I'll be drinking soda. 'Cause don't spoopy story irresponsibly. That epic soda opening, though. Hello, Mr. B and fish and things. I can eat the mini kids pizza. Yeah, I can't eat a full pizza, just half. A large. If it's a medium, I could probably eat all but a couple pieces. Well, I was like, why the hell was Internet Explorer opened? I remember now. I was looking at my resume. Anybody out there like a CEO of something? You let me know. I'll take $100,000 a year. Well, I disappeared. No, I want you right there. I want you right there. And then you right there. And then you back right there. What kind of Acura, DMC? Acura's a good car. I eat it cold, so I stuff my face while it's hot and fresh. I can't eat it cold. Well, cichlids, there's such thing as a microwave that does a very good job of heating cold pizza. I mean, I'm just letting you know. Like, one slice is like 57 seconds. Trust me. Not my car. Not my Chappy. C23 car. What kind of car? An old, crappy old Integra. Integras are cool. I almost bought an Integra once. A friend of mine had an Integra Type R. Wow, this guy's never heard of paragraphs. That's just a chunk of words. I don't have a microwave. Really? Wow. I mean, do you want someone to send you one? That'd be kind of cool. My countertop is the size of a microwave. I don't have a microwave either. I either eat it cold or put it in the oven just long enough to heat it up. I actually love it, but I've been having issues with blowing old hoses. I will replay from the beginning to hear the stories. I tried a shockwave, but it upset my pizza. I can't eat pepperoni anymore. Cutbacks over here, Chappy. Foxy Roxy. But about everything else is okay. I'm just reading what y'all are saying. I have a microwave, but the oven heats up things much better, I feel. Pizza's really good at like 45 to 50. I like 2 slices is 57 seconds. 1 slice is like 48. Yeah, I don't like microwaves. Yeah, heating up the water molecules and stuff. Cold with mayo. Wink. Gave my last one away. No, the Type A, pulled it out of the trash. These things are freaking awesome in the microwave. And you cannot oven cook them. They're just the Type A brand. Freaking phenomenal. There we go. So I believe in microwave food, because microwave food believes in you. What's good in the Midwest? Chevy fish? Well, Chevy fish. There you go. Chevy fish is good in the Midwest. How do you like that? Let's see if we can find another story for you scallywags. I like that word, scallywag. That's a fun one. What is that, Chappy? Rice cream? That was so stupid. Got my supper tubs out today to catch the rain. Do like a lot of you like live in like I'm having a burrito. Oh, thanks, Chappy. Do like a lot of you live in like not normal what's the word I'm looking for? Like out, like living like the off-grid life, or I mean, like y'all don't have microwaves and Spanish nuggets. What's a Spanish nugget? Finally, my beef chili pizza came with triple jalapenos and cheese crust. That sounds delicious. Can I have a slice? It was, but you laughed. I did laugh. That was terrible, but I did laugh. That was my Scooby-Doo impression even. I taught my Alexa a new trick. So let's see if I can watch this. Alexa, monitor off.
What setting?
Alexa, turn the monitor off.
I don't know how to set monitor to that setting.
Hang on. Alexa, turn the monitor off.
Okay.
Alexa, turn the monitor on.
Okay.
It took her forever to... She's still figuring it out, but it's kind of cool. Oh, now my camera's all... Whoop, timber. Hey, hang on. I got it. We're good. I look out my window to see cornfields as far as I can see. I'm over here like teaching Alexa things. She did do it. Because I have to hold the remote like this to be able to use it, like in the bottom corner. And that's where my sound stuff is. Alex, go fix me a turkey pot pie. Biatch. 7,392 miles distance from Texas to New Zealand. Oh. Alexa would cook you a turkey pot pie, but you don't have a microwave.
To make 6 servings of turkey pot pie, you'll need 1 tablespoon unsalted butter.
Alexa, shut up. Oh, that's too funny. Our cornfields are coming along. Oh, I'm not reading that out loud, DMC. Like, totally, Scoob. Oh, man. You folks slay me. Let's see if we can do a spoopy story. How far am I from you, Teresa Cookie? Just asking for a friend. LOL. Oh, man. I don't want to read that one because it's no breaks in the... I should make chicken pot pie tomorrow. That sounds good. That does sound good. I'm going to try to figure out something to do with... Well, I got pizza tomorrow. But then the day after that, I'm going to figure out something to do with my rice. Gang, looks like we got a mystery to solve. What's the mystery? Let's see if No Sleep has anything. Oh. Five parts to these damn stories. Jesus. put them as there we go. I gotta log in. No sleep till Brooklyn. Damn. Hey, got me in. The previous tenant of my new flat left a survival guide. I'm not sure I want to live here anymore. It's not a short one by any means, but it looks good. Wait, who was the creeper? It's definitely Mr. McMillan that owns the ice cream store next to the warehouse. No sleep till bum, bum, bum. Do I have messages? Oh, what messages do I have on Reddit? Nerd stuff. You guys, y'all are too much. I met someone who claimed to be the devil, and I think I believe them. That was very long. Something happened 63 years ago that haunted me my entire life. I've never told anyone until now. That one doesn't sound too bad. After this stream, I'm going to clean the house for tonight. Late night tip. What are you talking about, Jay? Please allow me to introduce myself. I met the devil in 1998. Oh, yeah? I'm a man of... Alright, well, this one's called Something Happened to Me 63 years ago. It's haunted me my entire life. I've never told anyone about it until now. It's official. I'm an old man. For the last couple years, I've comforted myself saying I'm in my early 70s, but math is simple and unforgiving. Today is my 75th birthday, and God, the years do fly. I'm not here for your well wishes. This is hardly a milestone I'm excited about. I'm glad to still be here, of course, but I find I have less and less to live for with every passing year. My bones ache, my kids live far away, and the other side of my bed has been empty for just over 8 months now. In fact, once I cast my vote against that goddamn Trump this November, I think I've read this. Yeah, I've read this. Damn it. Yeah.
Just gonna grab her computer.
She's not in here. The dog's missing. I wonder where she's at. Yeah, sorry, folks. I read that one. Let's go back to I Think I Met the Devil. Where'd it go? There it is. That ain't a good one, Chappy. Make one up. I do that when I'm drunk. It's tough. Maybe I'll sit around tomorrow and think of a creepy story. No promises. But I might stream earlier in the day on D Live if any of you are interested. I'll play Myst or something. My friend Ashley is coming over to help me cure cancer tonight, Chappy. You have cancer? I was just going to stand there and wait for you to reply. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get into the story. D Live is cool. It is pretty cool. Let me start off by saying that I'm not particularly religious. If you asked me if I believed in God, I'd probably just shrug. Grunt out a few words about being on the fence about it and continue with my day. Of course, that was before last night. My friends are the kind of people who like wild nights, crazy parties, snort a bit of coke, take a bit of E in the bathroom, maybe hook up with someone, then leave a text on my phone at 10 past who the fuck knows, telling me that they don't need a ride I'm offering after all. Not to say I don't like to drink. I do. Clubs aren't my style. Lying low in a pub somewhere, drink in hand, listening to the TV, drone on to whatever channel some scruffy guy in the back barked out for. I guess that's my type of fun. So when my friends tell me that they want to go out for a night on the town, I say sure. I hang on for the first club, buy a non-alcoholic beer in case my car is required, and try to pretend that I'm having fun. By the time I see them grinding on girls, on guys, whatever, strike up a conversation with someone who definitely might be a dealer, well, I decide my services are no longer needed. We aren't too far. The night tube is on beck and call, and I always find my car the next day. I can always find my car the next day. That's when I wander out of this club, look for something a little more rustic. Not that that's hard to find at all. There we go. The words were really little. Now I gotta find out where I was at. There we go. I found myself in a bit of a state inside a bar called Ragged Feather. Wasn't a fan of the name all that much, but the drinks were cheap and the largest demographic seemed like middle-aged men watching reruns of football. I tried to pretend I had just staggered out of a club with my ears ringing. I slicked my hair back. I slipped my phone in my hand and wandered over to the bar. I took a double shot of whiskey and drank it in one hit. Just because I wasn't at the club didn't mean I couldn't have a good time. I hung at the bar for a while on my own, scrolled through my phone pretending I was doing something far more impressive than I really was. I kept an ear out for the guys on the sofas. They'd get vocal every now and then. I think the football was running highlights. But they were incredibly dedicated to their teams. I got another whiskey and bled into the background. Of course, stragglers from clubs are commonplace. It wasn't long until some scantily dressed women staggered in, laughing, chuckling, pointing out where they wanted to sit. I saw a guy walk in with his friend slung over his shoulder, catatonic, most likely. He threw his friend into one of those leather sofas ingrained with beer and smokes and demanded 2 pints of water and all the peanuts the bar had in stock. The bartender seemed bitterly amused. Some of the girls were taking selfies, Snapchatting their friends who were still at the club. They were ordering shots, gearing themselves up for the next leg of their night. A couple blokes wandered in with curries and takeout trays. I saw someone eating a Big Mac on the corner outside through the window. This was a night for the young and inebriated, and my mind was just old enough by the whiskey to enjoy the characters I could watch peaceably without interacting with. That is until someone slipped into the seat next to me. Do I look like a girl with daddy issues? She was of average height, although that wasn't apparent immediately due to the fact that she was leaning her arms heavily against the bar. She was slim, with short and astoundingly bright red hair. It framed her round face. A round face was marred with smudged eyeshadow, smudged lipstick. Hell, it looked like her makeup was in the process of melting right off her face. There was a chip knocked into a curl in her hair, just by her forehead. The drunk side of me was actually tempted to pick it out. The girl was clearly drunk, and I looked around the bar. I couldn't quite place where she had come from. She didn't belong with a crowd of selfie takers. She wasn't with the catatonic guys. I hoped for her safety that she wasn't with the middle-aged men. I tried to look out the window to see if a group was missing one inebriated, bright red-haired girl, but I couldn't. The window had fogged up. Too much heat inside, not enough outside. "Are you okay?" I asked her. She pointed her finger at me. Answer my question, she slurred. I really wasn't sure what to say. I settled on staring at her awkwardly, trying to answer her with the bemused expression on my face. The girl's lips curled into a drunken smile. She snorted. Placing a hand over her mouth to smother her laughter, it only really aided the deconstruction of her lipstick. Do I know you? She said, pushing herself up a little against the bar. Have daddy issues, I mean. In case that wasn't obvious, she gestured at herself. To the mused clothing that must have looked quite spectacular when she had left home that evening. To the stains that looked like a lot of food, the sticky residue on her neck and shoulders that was quite obviously a thrown drink. What happened? I asked her. Her hair had curled around her neck, I realized. It was sticky with the same substance. She was a wreck. I got in a couple bar fights, no big deal, she said, shrugging. I didn't start any, of course, no. I don't do that. But my father... Your dad did this to you? She smiled brightly. In a way. Do you need me to call someone? I already had my phone in my hand. The girl looked like she was probably in her early 20s. But that didn't mean she couldn't have been suffering from some kind of parental abuse. The only number I knew off the bat was the child line, which wasn't quite appropriate. The police, Jesus. I was going to have to deal with the cops tonight while my friends were snorting coke, not 2 doors down. The girl pushed her hand down firmly. She was already shaking her head. No, she told me. I don't want you to call anyone. Now her expression changed. It was clearly a tempted, sultry look I'd seen on many girls her state. It was open and wide and engaging. She wanted something from me, and I felt compelled to give it to her. I want something else. What do you want? I asked her. To tell you a story, the girl said, before glancing to the bar, and for you to buy me a drink. The universe is a pain sometimes, and I'm afraid that I think I might have lost my wallet. I laughed. I didn't know this girl. I didn't know where she had come from at all. My nights were generally about getting comfortably wasted and making sure my friends weren't dead in a ditch by the end of it all. I was used to getting hit on every now and then. But even as I sat on that bar stool with drink in hand, I knew this wasn't what this was. The girl had no intention of getting in my pants. All she wanted was to talk. I guess I was okay with that. What's your poison? I asked her. Her lips quirked. Appletini. The bar offered a very limited cocktail menu, but by some miracle, I was able to order her an appletini from the list. I ordered a cider to go with it, suddenly a little too aware of where the night could go. I had unthinkingly supplied this liquored-up stranger with more alcohol than she had clearly had a rough night of it. A part of my old instinct came back. The same instinct that had me texting my friends every few hours to make sure that they hadn't wandered off somewhere dangerous beyond the club. With no one but the bartender aware of our existence on these roads, I realized that I was suddenly responsible for this very drunk stranger. The girl coddled her drink, running her finger delicately over the rim of the muggy martini glass. "This takes me back," the girl said amiably. She looked at me suddenly, her eyes, green eyes, startling. "You know, this was called originally?" She smirked before I could answer. "An Adam's apple martini." I snorted, "Yeah, I think I've heard that before." "Of course, it wasn't actually an apple," she continued, eyes moving back to the glass. "The text translated that part wrongly, mostly because people don't have a word of it anymore. The fruit was incredibly exotic, and to be honest, it doesn't exist in realism, in the realm of existence, only Eden." She laughed dreamily. "And Eden's long gone." I stared at her. "Are you okay?" It was more honest than the last time I'd asked her, mostly because I was beginning to feel a little dread creep into my stomach. "Of course," the girl said, grinning widely. "Why do you keep asking?" "I mean," I stuttered, I just now... Don't take this the wrong way or anything, but you look like someone poured their drink all over me?" the girl asked. "Like someone else threw the kebab in my dress and another unpleasant chip littered me with fish and chips? That I've been hit, slapped around a bit, and left in the gutter for the rats to find me?" She held my eyes for an incredibly long time before her face broke out into a grin. "Yeah, something like that." Why would they do that?" I asked. "Why wouldn't they?" the girl shot back. "People aren't that great at alcohol. Makes them worse." She shrugged. "Sometimes makes them better, nicer, a little looser in the sack, but mostly just annoying and a little smelly." I looked at her. I watched her knock back her drink. She exuded intelligence to know just how ironic her words were. But she was neither caring nor apologetic about them. The girl looked at me again. "You bought this drink? Now you can listen to my story." I nodded wordlessly. She smiled, pointing at the bartender, and then at her drink. The bartender was already making another one. "Eden," the girl said, reiterating her earlier babble, as though the words had only just come out of her mouth. "They always think that's my fault, you know. The reason Adam and Eve got kicked out of their perfect little nudist paradise." She shot me back a knowing glance. "Only in Eden can you sit on the grass, butt naked, and not get a pine cone stuck in your crack." I blinked. "I'm sorry?" I said. "I'm not following." "Sorry," the girl said. "My story won't make any sense without proper introduction." She reached out her hand. "Hello, my name is Lucifer." She winked. "But you can call me Lucy." There's an uncomfortable heat that stretches through the veins when you first go into flight or fight mode. Adrenaline pours through your blood, and all you want to do is get up and go. It overrides everything else. A lot of things make sense when the girl told me her name. For starters, that she was crazy. She had to be. She looked like she had been attacked on 4 separate occasions. And one night, and up until that moment, I hadn't known how that could be possible. Behind the melty makeup and dirty clothes was a rather attractive, and her attitude hadn't come off as catty or rude. If she had been going around telling people she was the devil, though, that'd get a reaction out of people. I suddenly felt myself looking at her wrists, down towards her ankles. Did she have some kind of cuff on from one of those mental institutions? Had she broken out of the hospital after a nasty bump on the head? Was any of this even happening at all? I really would have had to call the cops. I know what you're thinking, the girl, Lucy, said. You're thinking I'm crazy, that you need to get out of here. Maybe you think I'm aggressive. Are you? I asked. Would I be here with you, drinking appletinis if I were? She asked, fluttering her eyelashes. Would you look the way you do if you weren't? I shot back. She grinned, toasting her new glass. Touché. Unthinkingly, I clinked my cider against it. Then I frowned. She chuckled, leaned in closer. Let's have a little wager, she said. Let me tell you my story, and if you believe me when I'm done, you can't go about trying to get me locked away somewhere. I stared at her. If I end up believing you, why would I do that? She smirked, sipped her drink. You'd be surprised what people do when they believe you're the devil. You do this often? I asked. Tell people you're Satan? She snorted into her drink. Not as often as I should, but it's been a rough day and hell's a long lifetime. I'd like to have a chat, if that's all right with you. I waved the bartender for another whiskey. The girl's eyes glinted with humor. I wasn't necessarily trapped with her, but part of me didn't want to leave without first hearing what she had to say. Besides, at the end of it all, I couldn't just leave a crazy girl who wandered around London alone. So, I said, taking a sip of my drink, Eden? Lucy laughed. Adam and Eve, I continued. You're saying that's true. God created 2 humans, we all came from them? God made 2 prototypes, Lucy corrected, with the raised finger. My father created angels and his toy soldiers, but he had failed to make anything like himself. After us, it was his next big project, and he spent every waking hour of existence slaving over his 2 prototypes. He gave them a perfect utopia to live inside of, but he wanted to test them. He wanted to know whether they had free will. And did they? Lucy's face scoured. No. My father could never bring himself to go that far. He tempted them with the idea of knowledge beyond their understanding and told them exactly what they could do to claim it as their own. But to be able to create a being that could go against his law, oh, my father is a very controlling being. He was afraid to unleash that ability into them. Lucy was very adamant in her delusions. That was clear to me. She spoke about her father with such distaste that I began to feel bad for her. Only someone who had been hurt very badly would have the gall to spite God himself. And what? I asked her, entertaining her delusions. You were one that tempted them in the garden? The devil has been a girl this whole time. She smiled. I dabble. Then she looked at me, raising a brow. All of humanity thinks that temptation came in the form of a snake. The snake's legs were taken away as punishment for drawing Eve towards the forbidden fruit. She laughed and shot a short head around. Snakes never had legs. It was not sin to tempt those poor prototypes into doing what they did next. Her shoulders were very tense as she took her next sip, but her eyes were filled with exhilaration. She seemed thrilled to be telling me this. I was the favorite child. My father loved and adored me. He named me the light bringer. I was stood at his side during the creation of earth, during the creation of humanity. She pursed her lips, slamming her empty glass against the table. The bartender eagerly went about making another. My father couldn't bring himself to go that extra mile, so he asked me to walk amongst the prototypes and tempt them myself, to draw out their desire for the forbidden power he had hinted at. You're saying God wanted us to know this stuff? I asked her skeptically. I'm saying God was afraid of his own power and wanted a very depressively to share what he knew with creation, with what he had made. Right and wrong, left and right, all that stuff. Lucy shrugged. Are you familiar with the story of Prometheus? I frowned at her. Greek, right? That they stole the fire from the gods or something to help. The whiskey was making things a little foggy, and I struggled with the direction I'd been heading. Lucy grinned. Correct, she said, cutting off my attempt. Prometheus had stole fire from the gods to ensure that humanity progressed. You'll find that every culture has an idea about where humans got their ability to evolve, to move forward, to create. God was the creator, and he wanted to give the ability to his prototypes. He gave them that ability by tempting Eve to eat the fruit. She smugged impassively. Shrugged, not smugged. Now the world sees me as the ultimate evil. And what if you're saying is true, I said slowly. Then God must be like us. Lucy's lips thinned into a feral smile. My father is very egocentric. He may have planned to create you in his image, but in the end, all he managed to do was mold your minds into his. He gave you anatomy, the ability to think for yourselves. His angels were his soldiers, and I was his most faithful until that day. Angels don't have free will? No, Lucy said, they don't. And what about the devil? I don't know why I was suddenly so intrigued, but hearing religious ideals from someone who believed to have lived them herself was quite possibly one of the most interesting things I had ever happened to me. I may have ever visited church to please my parents as a child, but suddenly I was reawakened to that idea. A part of me was aware of this and afraid of the outcome, but I was just drunk enough to not care at that moment. I'm going to pause real quick. How are you guys doing? Are y'all still there? How many people we got? We got 19 people. All right, let's continue the story. This is a long one. Are y'all liking it? Who cares? The devil has will of her own, Lucy said, tilting her glass towards me with silent appraisal. By guiding Eve to the tree, something woke inside me that day, and I realized that what I had been missing, just what my brothers and sisters had been missing. They were obediently following our Father, for the simple reason that He was our Creator. But once I had been given free will, I realized just how pompous and self-entitled He had become. In a lonely, passion-filled moment, He had decided to create His little human prototypes, only to very quickly realize that giving them free will, what it would mean. He wouldn't be able to control them, I said. Lucy nodded. Exactly. After all, he realized quicker still that he can no longer control me. So he sent you to hell? Lucy nearly choked on her drink. She smiled around her glass. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I sobered a little, straightened in my seat, and people in the bar were suddenly quiet around me. And I no longer cared what they had to say or the characters they portrayed. The only character I cared for was Lucy. I tried to explain my siblings what had happened in Eden, what had happened to me by default, and that they wouldn't listen to me. They didn't understand free will. How could they? I only think because I'd been given it by mistake. At that moment, I didn't even know that I had free will, only that I was suddenly aware of all my father's flaws. My siblings couldn't see those flaws, so they thought I had suddenly turned cruel and was abandoning our father by exposing him as a sham for the ruler we all thought him to be. Lucy sighed heavily. Adam and Eve and all the creation that followed were booted out of Father's perfect little place. Now that they had his knowledge, my father was terrified of what he had done, and after what had happened to me, I could recognize his terror and understand the loneliness he had felt that had guided him unto me in the first place. Lucy's eyes, heavily lidded, her sadness was almost palpable. I thought that he would want to spend more time with me than before. After all, we were more alike than any other of his children. But he became quite distant. He played around with his little humans every once in a while, but mostly he condemned them. He blamed them for his weakness. She smiled weakly. He blamed me. Lucy's story was turning out to be more into that of a child with a distant, somewhat abusive father. And I known many kids with a background like hers, and I was beginning to fear just how much her story was rooted in the truth. I had heard that it was easier to sink into fantasy when you had been abused, and I wondered if that was the reason for her story. for her desperation to share it with me. A complete and total stranger. I respected her wager. Whether or not I liked it, I felt compelled with her to tell her whole story before I tried to judge or unravel it. I sat quietly, letting her come around as she played with the last of her drink. It became clearer, Lucy said after a long moment's pause, that I no longer belonged where I was. I couldn't follow my father's plan because I could no longer see that he had one. My siblings refused to see the reason, and so eventually I was met by many of them, headed by my father. He told me all that I'd feared. He told me that I was no longer belonged where I was, that I wasn't an angel anymore, that I no longer was his light bringer, his Lucifer. I was a mutation of his will, and so he extracted from me grace, and I fell. A long silence stretched between us, only interrupted when the bartender poured us 2 new drinks. Lucy drank hers reflectively. I didn't touch mine. I'm afraid, Lucy said quietly. This is the part that generally makes people want to punch me in the face. Why? I asked. Because your dad threw you out? I paused, trying to abide to her metaphor, that he was put in your hell. Lucy laughed sadly. Humans, my father gave you his way of thinking, and look at you. She shook her head. No, not because he put me in hell. Then why? I fell to earth, Lucy said. Father gave me domination of one place he thought I could fit in. Humans had free will, so did I. What is that saying? A match made in heaven? She snorted dismally. Of course, that's not quite right, was it? When I fell, I was faced with the humanity that was so different from my father's little prototypes. Her tone had changed. There was aggression behind her words that began to unsettle me all over. I saw emperors and kings, governments and churches. I saw corporations who claimed to be rulers, presidents and big fat dictators. And I watched. I watched as humanity fought and lost. And finally, just finally, they gave up altogether. They were no longer able to rise up. All the greed and control set upon them. There was too much to change, and humans soon realized that they weren't as free as they thought they were. Sure, they lived under the illusion that they had free lives, but most of them simply do not. She clicked her tongue. I grew up to loathe you all. Then she took another hit of her drink. I can see what you mean, I said, allowing my gaze, for the first time since beating her, to graze over the other individuals in the bar. At the girls playing with their phones, the boys trying desperately to sober up, the men enraptured with their football game on the telly. We all led very different lives, and we were all here to get drunk, to lose ourselves in entertainment. It hadn't been the first time that I had wondered what we were hiding from by doing this. And I knew that I wasn't the only person to think of it. You hide behind your alcohol and poor choices and pretend you have free will, Lucy said, waving her hand across the room. No one paid us any attention. It's true, my father gave you all will to make those decisions, but you squander it. The free will I fell to prove to you all. The free will I was given by a twisted mistake. And you make a mockery of it. You fellow senseless leaders, without questioning them, you abide by laws made centuries ago that no longer make sense. You do these things because you have given up the opportunity to follow your own will, not of others. That isn't all of us, is it? I asked her, trying for some reason to defend our species from the young mad woman. Because you see on the news all the time, don't you? People do rise up. We do protest. People can make a difference. Lucy laughed bitterly, nibbling at the rim on her glass. Really? She said. You can sit here and say that it can't all be bad because of a few refuse to conform? Those you call your rebels, they make up for you all? She grinned around her glass. By that logic, I'm the biggest rebel of them all, and I'm expected to make up for all your sorry mistakes? By your logic, I said, you should be punishing it, right? If that's what the metaphor is all about. I laughed. I couldn't help myself. I took a sip of my drink. Is this whole story just so you can tell me that you think we're all going to hell? If so, I think I can see why people want to punch you. Lucy didn't say a word. Simply, she watched me. I felt unnerving to have someone like her watching me like that, with an intelligence that went beyond anything I'd come across at gone midnight in a seedy bar. The drunkenness in her eyes was no longer present. Her face wasn't flushed like before, and her makeup couldn't represent the mess I had seen when she first appeared on the stool by me. It was like I was looking at someone else entirely, and I was afraid. Let's review what you said, Lucy said slowly, articulately. She wasn't slurring. She had been slurring before. You think I'm going to tell you that humanity is going to hell because you refused to use the gift I gave you? Her nails curled on the bar. My father may have been the one to guide me, but I paid for this mistake, and I'm the one responsible for your will in the eyes of your species. But that was never true. You are responsible for what you are responsible for what you do here, not me. She pursed her lips, tapping the bar as the bartender filled the drink again. Tell me, do you remember me mentioning my hell at any part of this story? Or was that just you? I opened my mouth to answer, but something faltered. My lips trembled and I slammed them shut. Lucy smiled, taking a sip. Thought not. She looked away, eyes scanning the room lazily. What did I say is something that is indeed mentioned in your scripture. My Father gave me domination of earth, a place filled with free will that goes to waste. Her lips twisted. Humans sin all the time, not because of me, not because of evil or my domination over this place. Fact is, I don't lift a finger. I don't, because I don't see the point. You make terrible decisions and follow mindless leaders. You do bad things and make a mess of your earth. Lucy's eyes lit up. Do you know how much suffering is happening all over the planet right now? How many people are dying of illness that could have been easily cured, but aren't because of the selfishness of humanity? Do you know how many children are being abused, raped, forced into marriage? How many people have been forced to become soldiers in meaningless wars? How many humans have killed for ideals they don't believe in? I stayed very quiet. There was nothing I could say. Lucy's words were unbearably honest, and every sentence sliced into me like a blade. I felt cold and sick and terrified. War, famine, pestilence, death, these things are all present, and they have nothing to do with me or to do with any deity. They're all here because of you, not because of your free will, but your inability to use it. Lucy smiled at me, a grin so cold and unnatural that it felt like I should run all over again. But I stayed there. I was frozen to my very core because I wanted to hear what she had to say, because I needed to. And here's the kicker, Lucy said, because this is the part that actually enrages people enough to kick me. She winked. Hell isn't what happens after you die. Hell is right here, right now. Somewhere through the many scriptures, a few words got lost and people started thinking that hell was a punishment after you die. Fact is, hell is earth, my earth. God gave this place to me to do with what I will, and I refuse to do anything. What are you saying? I asked, because I was suddenly very desperate. Exactly what you think, Lucy said, toasting her glass. I didn't reciprocate. She laughed. A light and airy sound. So many plans for your species. I wanted for us to rejoice in our free will together. Create a place that was free from their cruelty. Empower my Father exuded over the angels, his firstborns. And I wanted to make a real utopia. Unfortunately, you humans just don't want that, she shrugged. My Father sent me down here thinking I had become one of you. All that I have learned is that he gave you much more of his image than he ever intended. Stop, I said. This isn't funny anymore. Of course it isn't funny, Lucy said, grinning even wider to prove her sick irony. Humans punish themselves by sinning and doing nothing. They have made their own hell. And you know what's worse? What's ultimately worse? Some of you are so blind to it that you think your life is heavenly. She didn't wait for me to ask what she meant. She simply barreled forward. The rich and powerful, those in positions that steal from everyone else, they get a taste of the good life. That's very true. When they die, they don't go to hell. They come back here to earth, which is hell. She tipped her head back. Are you following? Reincarnation, Lucy said quickly. She practically purred the words. Well, I didn't purr them. She practically purred the words. A neat little trick to make sure your souls stay here forever. You get a taste of the good life every once in a while, a handful of you at a time. And that's enough for you to believe that this is some kind of real middle ground. That you aren't living hell every day. Then you die. You die for a moment, and then you're in the body of someone facing the realities of hell. But of course, you never remember the time that you spent in a better life. A part of you that just has that inkling of hope. That's all. Hope makes you think that it can all get better. She slammed her drink down so hard against the counter that it shattered. I didn't do anything. Not even when the flecks of glass littered my hands. I could only stare at her, tightness in my chest constricting my very soul. No one else in this bar mattered in this moment. But of course, that's what she had been saying this whole time, hadn't she? None of them noticed the scene. They were caught up in their own realities, their own hells. The bartender didn't clean up the mess. The glass lay there, remnants of Lucy's words lying in a solid mass on the streaked wooden surface. It never gets better, Lucy spat. You're stuck in a loop until you do something about it. You'll never be free, none of you. And I won't do a thing to stop it. How? I asked. I don't know when I started seeing the girl in front of me as more of a girl. More than a girl. But with the weakness threatening to pull me apart, I stared at the bright-haired thing in front of me and saw something more than a human in her early 20s. I saw more than a girl suffering abuse from her father. I saw a fallen angel. I saw a being with scars buried so deep that they existed beyond the realm of seeing entirely. I saw something that would never be able to write down in words no matter how long I live. How do we change this? I begged. Lucy didn't answer me. I didn't blame her for that. Blame gets thrown around so often, and I knew then that she was sick of that, sick of being blamed for her mistakes. So I changed tactics. Why me? It was an honest question, and I think somewhere deep down Lucifer respected the honesty. which is why she said, when you first saw me, you were afraid for my safety. When I told you I was the devil, you wanted to lock me away, but still, you did so because you were afraid of me and not of yourself. You didn't wish to harm me, not even when I told you who I was and what I could be capable of for changing your lives, your sorry lives. You were a good person, and I'm afraid that means nothing when you don't have the will to do anything about it. She smiled at me sympathetically, the devil showing me sympathy for a human that sat across from her at a bar. It was surreal, and for a few heavy moments, I truly thought I must be dead. There was no other way to explain what I was seeing, who I was speaking with, and what I had heard. What am I supposed to do? Lucy reached out to me. She placed a hand on my shoulder. Her hand was cold and warm at the same time. I felt my blood boil where her fingers scraped my skin. And I knew. Sharing a story like this isn't easy. Hell, it might be the hardest thing I've ever done. Good thing there's no such thing as hell, then, right? The fact of the matter is simple. The world is a mess because we refuse to change anything. The devil herself walks among us, and she desperately wants to make our lives better, but won't. She won't because she won't. We have to prove ourselves to her before she's willing to do anything herself. We have to be good to each other to help us all to be free. Of course, Lucifer told me one last thing before she left that bar. One thing that will stick with me until my body is nothing but rot in the dirt. You can tell as many people as you want, but take a good look at me. I have told 5 other humans this night the same thing you've told me, and this was their reaction. They have hurt me, burned me, thrown their food and drink at me. Humans are afraid of their free will, and they find it so much easier to hurt than to own up to their own inadequacies. You will only be free when you stop seeing yourself in the same way as my Father sees himself. So, that's what I leave you with. Lucifer won her wager that night, and I let her walk out the door. I beg you do the same, and if the devil approaches you one night, listen to what she has to say, and listen to what I have been able to tell you of our meeting. The devil is real, and she doesn't want to torture us. No, we do that just fine on our own. That was written by At House Andros. Here's the link. With that, I'm going to take a quick break, if that's okay. That was a long one. Hey, Bo. Oh, who else we got here? I saw E.T. Benzer. This is too scary for me. Forget about it. You forget about it. You pasta fazool, you. Oh, how many people we have in here? 15 people. Wow. Maybe I should read long stories more often. Did y'all like that story? That was a long story. I want to know how long it was. I don't know. Can someone tell me what time it started? I did. I like that story. Yeppers. Looks like y'all like the story. "34 minutes. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, that was a tough read sometimes. If y'all wouldn't mind, I'm going to go step outside for a second. I will chat with you all in the doobly-doos. But if you want to give me a moment. You guessed 34 minutes. I will be right back. Smoke 'em if you got 'em, that's right. Don't run into any demons. Yeah, I will be right back. All right. All right, guys. I'm trying to figure out my sound. Give me a second here. Something happened. I was going to step away. Okay. What happened to my headset here? USB device cannot connect. It malfunctioned. What? Let's see. Okay. There we go. Let's change my to headphones. Okay. Take two. Hello, everybody. Boop. So we're at about 3 hours. It's about 8 o'clock. It's probably an hour longer than I meant to go. Let's see if anybody else is streaming online on the old YouTubes. I like to think that story gave you food for thought, you know? Teresa, it is windy there today. Is it windy there today? It's windy here. Could fly a kite and be flown away. Oh, there was a boop and a beep. Yeah, I feel like, maybe a little bit of food for thought on that last one. Stop being bastards. You see someone in trouble, help them. I like that story. Maybe I'll read some more of his. Looks like he's written a few. It was windy a couple of days ago. Really bad storm hit us, flipped the trampoline over, and blew the roof off the guinea pig hutch. That's it. I always help. I always stop to help people, no matter the age. That's good. Let me see if I could find one more short story. And then we'll call it quits. Hello, James. How are you today? Boom, 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 boom. I sort of want to go driving around. Yeah, I'm done with stories for now. Well, I think we might call it quits. We're about 30 seconds till the 3-hour mark. And I want to try to go to bed early tonight, and it's almost 8. So I'll try to be in bed before 10. Jeez. That's a bit of wind. Hope trampoline didn't break. Saw a great idea with the frame of them. Dig bottom in the ground, stand it up and secure it, then hang pot plants around the sides. live stream and drive with Chappy sounds like an LOL. Oh no, when I drive, I like to drive by myself, usually. And I have, why is this, going choppy? Yeah, I have a lot of stories. These are all books. Chappy, I see Ed in the chat with your creepy Chappy t-shirt. Oh yeah? So yeah. I got a lot of stories. If y'all hit me up in Discord with your email addresses, I'll send you stories. I'll send you some Audible stories, and you get the full thing. That's a lot of stories. It is. It's, I think it's it's 200 different books. And if you go by total listening time to books, it's 5 months, 17 days, 18 hours, and 25 minutes. Any quick video game creepypastas? Take you... what to get the collection? You prefer to read an actual book. You tried Audible. I like reading. I do. But I only like listening to Audible when I'm driving. Them's a lot of words. Them's a lot of words. I don't know. When you listen to Audible enough. Got a favorite story in your collection? I do. I got a couple of them. But, probably it's a toss-up. Chappy, would it be cool to have a subscriber story send in and read? Like, you want me to read a story that someone makes? I do that all the time. Probably the Cycle of Iran series, which is 3 books in one. It was like a special they were holding. Probably one of my all-time favorites. Or 14. 14's a real good one. It's by Peter Clines. I've listened to that like 3 or 4 times. 14. And then with that, there's like The Fold. I think I just listened to the whole series. The Fold, Terminus, and there was another one. Dead Moon are all the same series. But the Edward W. Robinson writes the what's the name of that book? A lot of Stephen King in my collection. Lots of Stephen King. Where's it at? Where's the sometimes you have to wait a long time between books. Well, I mean, I'm kind of hard-pressed to call these books, but they are books, but they're being read to me, so. It's called Nope. Damn, I just had it. I thought I had it. That was not it. The Silver Thief. The Red Seas. And they just released a book that I listened to that was really good. Yeah, The Cycle of Iran. That's it. That was a long one. Let's see. Plus 10. That was 63 hours on that book. But it was 3 books, so. Favorite Stephen King book? That would probably be The Fold. The Fold I've listened to a couple times. The Fold. Did I just say The Fold? No, I'm sorry. God bless it. I'm ridiculous. The Stand. Yeah, The Stand is that's what I meant. Or oh, what else? What's a good one? Your favorite's The Green Mile. Oh yeah, that's a good one. I tend to like his short stories usually. So that's like I don't remember if The Dead Zone was short stories. Where's it at? Where's the one that I do. Everything's Eventual, I think. Oh, 11/22/63 is a really good one too. And So Was It was a really good one. I don't know. And I listened to the whole series of The Dark Tower. That was a good one. That was a long-ass book. Well, so was The Stand. The Stand is 47 hours. But USB device not recognized. Like somehow my headphone jack stopped working. I wonder what happened. Yeah, do any of you have a favorite author or book? I like, my taste varies, but it's usually sci-fi or fantasy, but like easy to digest fantasy. No, the one I'm doing is one of the ones I play. Children of the Corn was my first read. It was the first story you ever read by him. Oh. When people ask me about Stephen King, I begrudgingly tell them that I think he's homosexual, because there's a lot of boy sex in his stories, but I think it's just the way that his characters go. But there's child sex too. Robert McCammon, Swan Song. Hey, puppers. What are you chewing on? You chewing on yourself? You look vicious. You look vicious. Pet Cemetery. Oh, that's a really good one. Yeah, I like that. That was I want to say it was like, I felt like that one was a short one. It was really good though. Oh, she wants to play. She likes to play fetch. That's her favorite. So here you go. Catch. Good girl. Good girl. Lay down. Oh, let's let you out of the room. Come on. Go this way. Come on, give me the ball. Give me the ball. All right, come on. She skeetered off. True. Is it true that Stephen King wrote on cocaine? I've never heard that. But people really don't recognize that he's more of a sci-fi writer than a horror writer. Chappy, check out those harp twins, Camille and Kinnerly, on YouTube. DMC, join my Discord and give me the link. I don't know if Stephen King wrote on a lot of cocaine. He's a pretty out there writer sometimes. It's good stuff though. He has really good stories, real descriptive. He doesn't let your mind wander. Cujo? I never did Cujo. I hadn't. How the heck do I do that? Link in the description. Never mind, I see it now. Good. I got to see Stephen King at Wichita State a couple years ago. Very cool guy. You read Cujo in 5th or 6th grade. That'd probably be pretty creepy read. Looking for my earbuds. Found some old Burt's Bees. Let's put on some Burt's Bees. Let's lubing up our lips. Listerly words. For the loose lips. They sink ships. He actually has a normal family. You would have never guessed that these stories are in his brain. You met Anne Rice 25 years ago. She was also very cool. I've heard people say she's kind of a bitch, but I did The Witches. What story was that? Lasher, and was it Lasher? Damn it. The Witching Hour. Yeah, and then I did Lasher. Yeah, The Witching Hour was 50 hours. Lasher was, that was 28 hours. I sometimes start a book by how long it takes to finish it, and then I'll get pulled into the series. I like the long books. I never started the the one that was the HBO show that everybody loved. Winter is Coming. That I figure one of these days I might, but it just doesn't interest me. And I know that once I start it, I won't want to stop it. But, yeah. I don't know. Every now and then I'll do a book that's not about, that's like science-y or whatever. Permanent Record by Edward Snowden was a pretty good one. 1491's a really good one. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. That was a good book. Let's see what else we got here. Scott Meyer. I wonder if he has any new books. So what happens is I'm thumbing through and I'm like, I haven't seen a story from his collection in a while. Nope. No new stories. Well, that sucks. Last one he did was last year, June 2019. Christine. I haven't done that one either. I've done quite a few. I'll tell you the stories I did with Stephen King. I hope that's who you're talking about. So these are not in order. So some of these are series. But the Vampire Archives, that was that had a short story by Stephen King in it. But Under the Dome, Wolves of Kala, The Tommyknockers, The Talisman, The Stand, The Shining, The Outsider, The Institute, The Dead Zone, The Dark Tower. 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then The Dark Tower, Bizarre Bad Dreams, Songs of Susanna, Sleeping Beauty, Skeleton Crew, Revival, Pet Cemetery, Needful Things, Mr. Mercedes, It, Insomnia, Hearts in Atlantis, Full Dark, No Stars, 4 Past Midnight, Finders Keepers, Everything's Eventual, End of Watch, Duma Key, Dr. Sleep, Desperation, Black House, and 11/22/63. So I have a few of his stories. I think I have the most. I just finished doing water changes from a Buick 8. Was weird. Ooh, I'm not familiar. I kind of go to Stephen King if it's a story that intrigues me and I don't have any of my series, any books coming out soon. But, anyways, I'm going to get out of here, guys. We've been going for about 3 hours. Just chit-chat. Oh, dang, we're up to 18 people. Oh, well. Well, I got to get out of here anyways. Yeah, so if you're interested in me sending you a book, let me know in Discord. That'd be kind of cool. I've got enough to share. "1922" is a novella by Stephen King published in his collection Full Dark, No Stars. Oh. Hang on. I said I had that one. I do. Don't I? Or I have... Wait. Maybe not. Yeah, Full Dark, No Stars. Okay, there we go. Oh, yeah, there's 1922. Yeah. Chappy. I don't remember 1922. Tell me about it, Lauren. Because I remember all the books I've listened to. I just don't remember details of sometimes specific books. Sometimes stories kind of, so I'll re-listen to a book. But unless I have an emotional connection to it, like I get excited or I get sad or mad, I tend not to remember books. And sometimes I get real excited when I'm listening to a book and something good's about to happen. I'm a big nerd about that stuff. But all right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you all very much for coming. We'll do this again tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central, Texas time, because Texas. And until then, stay creepy. Be awesome. And, be the best you can be. Listening to a book is the Burt's Bee's Knees. Good night, everyone. Thank you all for coming.